Naiштiki.
की
Hare Krishna. We continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 16. How Parikshit received the age of Kali. Shloka 13 to 16. Tatra tatra upashrunvanaha
तत्र उपशृण्वानः
स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनां
स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनां
प्रगीयमाणं च यशः
प्रगीयमाणं च यशः
कृष्णमाहात्म्यम् असूचकम्
कृष्णमाहात्म्यम् असूचकम्
आत्मानं च परित्रातम्
आत्मानं च पवित्रातम्
अश्वत्थाम्नः अ-
अस्-
अश्वतेजसः
अश्वत्थाम्नः अस्त्रतेजसः
स्नेहं तु वृष्णि पार्थानां
स्नेहं च वृष्णिपार्थानां
तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे
तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे
तेभ्यः परं सन्तुष्टः
तेभ्य परम संतुष्टः
प्रीति उञ्जृम्भितलोचनः
प्रीति उज्जृम्भितलोचनः
महाधनानि वासांसि
महाधनानि वासांसि
ददौ हारान् महामनाः
ददौ हारान् महामनाः
सारथे पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य
सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य
विरासन अनुगमन अनुगमन स्तवन प्रणामान
विरासन अनुगमन स्तवन प्रणामान्
स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणतिं च विष्णोः
स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत्प्रणतिं च विष्णोः
भक्तिं करोति नृपतिः चरण अरविन्दे
भक्तिं करोति नृपतिः चरणारविन्दे
तत्र तत्र उपशृण्वाणः स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनां
तत्र तत्र उपशृण्वानः स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनाम्
प्रगीयमाणं च यशः कृष्णमाहात्म्यं सूचकम्
प्रगीयमानं च यशः कृष्णमाहात्म्यसूचकम्
आत्मानं च परित्रातम् अश्वत्थाम्नः अश्वतेजसः
आत्मानं च परित्रातम् अश्वत्थाम्नः अस्त्रतेजस
तेजसः स्नेहं च वृष्णिपार्थानां तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे
स्नेहं च वृष्णिपार्थानां तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे
तेभ्यः परं सन्तुष्टः प्रीति उत्सृम्भितलोचनः
तेभ्य परम संतुष्टः प्रीति उज्जृम्भितलोचनः
महाधनानि वांसांसि ददौ हारान् महामनाः
महाधनानि वासांसि ददौ हारान् महामनः
सारथ्य पार्षद सेव सख्य दौत्य
सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य
विरासन अनुगमन स्तव न प्रणामान्
विरासन अनुगमनः तव तव न प्रणामान्
स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणतिं च विष्णोः
स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत्प्रणतिं च विष्णोः भक्तिं करोति
भक्तिं करोति नृपति चरण अरविन्दे
द्रुपतिः चरणारविन्दे
तत्र तत्र उपशृण्वाण स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनां प्रगीयमाणं च यशः कृष्णमाहात्म्यं सूचकम् आत्मानं च परित्रातम् अश्वत्थाम्ना अस्वतेजस स्नेहं च वृष्णिपार्थानां तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे तेभ्यः परं सन्तुष्टः प्रीति उत्सुम्बितलोचनः महाधनानि मांसांसि ददौ हारान् महामनाः सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य विरासन अनुगमन स्तवन प्रणामान स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत् प्रणतिं च विष्णु भक्तिं करोति नृपति चरण अरविन्दे
तत्र तत्र
हरे कृष्ण
उपशृण्वानः स्वपूर्वेषां महात्मनां प्रगीयमानं च यशः कृष्णमाहात्म्यसूचकम् आत्मानं च परित्रातम् अश्वत्थाम्नास्त्रतेजस स्नेहं च वृष्णिपार्थानां तेषां भक्तिं च केशवे तेभ्यः परं सन्तुष्टः प्रीति उज्जृम्भितलोचनः महाधनानि वासांसि ददौ हारान् महामनः सारथ्य पार्षद सेवन सख्य दौत्य वीर वीरासन अनुगमनस्तवन प्रणामान स्निग्धेषु पाण्डुषु जगत्प्रणतिं च विष्णो भक्तिं करोति द्रुपदी चरणारविन्दे.
Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Wherever the king visited, he continuously heard the glories of his great forefathers, who were all devotees of the Lord, and also of the glorious acts of Lord Krishna. He also heard how he himself had been protected by the Lord from the powerful heat of the weapon of Aśvatthāmā. People also mentioned the great affection between the descendants of Vṛṣṇi and Pṛthā, due to the latter's great devotion to the Lord Keśava. The king, being very pleased with the singers of such glories, opened his eyes in great satisfaction. Out of many glories to award them very valuable necklaces and clothing, the Mahārāja Parīkṣit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Kṛṣṇa Viṣṇu, who is universally obeyed, render all kinds of service to the malleable sons of Pāṇḍu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc., according to the will of the Pāṇḍavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisance like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parīkṣit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kings and great personalities of the state are presented with welcome addresses. This is a system from time immemorial. And Maharaj Parīkṣit, since he was one of the well-known emperor of the world, was also presented with addresses of welcome in all parts of the world as he visited those places. The subject matter of those welcome addresses was Krishna. Krishna means Krishna and his eternal devotees, as the king means the king and his confidential associate. Krishna and his unalloyed devotees cannot be separated, and therefore glorifying the devotee means glorifying the Lord and vice versa. Maharaj Parīkṣit would not have been glad to hear about the glories of his forefathers like Maharaj Yudhishthir and Arjuna had they not been connected with the acts of Lord Krishna. The Lord descends specifically to deliver his devotees. Paritranaya sadhuna. The devotees are glorified by the presence of the Lord because they cannot live for a moment without the presence of the Lord and its different energies. The Lord is present for the devotee by his acts and glories, and therefore Maharaj Parīkṣit felt the presence of the Lord when he was glorified by his acts, especially when he was saved by the Lord in the womb of his mother. The devotees of the Lord are never in danger, but in the material world, which is full of dangers at every step. The devotees are apparently placed into dangerous positions, and when they are saved by the Lord is glorified. Lord Krishna would not have been glorified as the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, as his devotees like the Pāṇḍavas not been entangled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All such acts of the Lord were mentioned in the addresses of welcome, and Maharaj Parīkṣit, in full satisfaction, rewarded those who presented such addresses. The difference between the presentation of welcome addresses today and in those days is that formerly the welcome addresses were presented to a person like Maharaj Parīkṣit. The welcome addresses were full of facts and figures, and those who presented such addresses were sufficiently rewarded. Whereas in the present days, the welcome addresses are presented not always with factual statements about to please the post holder, and often they are full of flattering lies, and rarely are those who present such welcome addresses rewarded by the poor receiver. Lord Krishna is everything to the unalloyed devotees like Pandavas. The Lord was for them the Supreme Lord, the spiritual master, the worshipable deity, the guide, the chariot driver, the friend and the servant, the messenger, and everything they could conceive of. And thus the Lord also reciprocated the feelings of the Pandavas. Maharaj Parīkṣit, as a poor devotee of the Lord, could appreciate the Lord's transcendental reciprocation of the feelings of his devotees, and thus he himself also was overwhelmed with the dealings of the Lord. Simply by appreciating the dealings of the Lord with his pure devotees, one can attain salvation. The Lord's dealings with his devotees appear to be ordinary human dealing, but one who knows them in truth becomes at once eligible to go to back home, back to Godhead. The Pandavas were so malleable to the will of the Lord, and they could sacrifice any amount of energy for the service of the Lord. And by such unalloyed determination, they could secure the Lord's mercy in any shape they desired. Hare Krishna. Om अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवान् च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देव श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा. We try to understand shloka number 13 to 16. Here they describe about the kings and great personalities of the state are presented with welcome addresses, and how Krishna and his unalloyed devotees cannot be separated, and therefore they glorifying the devotees means glorifying the Lord, or vice versa. And then ahead, Parikshit Maharaj heard about the causeless mercy of Lord Krishna, who is universally obeyed and giving the service to his grandfather. He hearing that uh, all these points are discussed here. Prabhuji will tell us in detail nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Maharaj Parīkṣit, he is actually on a tour right now. And what does he see or what does he experience when he is going on tour? What he is experiencing is everyone is speaking very highly Swapurvesham about his forefathers, especially the grandfathers. Pancha Pandavaha, Mahatmanam. So they are not ordinary persons. This word Mahatmanam is very, very important, which comes here. Prabhupada ji, when he was discussing on this, like, these shlokas, he said that it is very, very important that we understand who is a Mahatma and we also try to become a Mahatma. As mentioned by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, in 9th chapter 13th verse, महात्मानः तु मां पार्थ दैवी प्रकृतिमाश्रितः भजन्ति अनन्य मनसः ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम्. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So, the very first qualification is that we should know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Secondly, we need to understand that Krishna is original, he is inexhaustible, Anadiradir Govinda. And thirdly, we have to be engaged in devotional service to Krishna. And then fourthly, we come under the protection of the divine nature. But then who comes under protection? One who is surrendered. So a Mahatma will basically have these four qualities. But then, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, Krishna had already said in 7th chapter, 19th verse, that to get a Mahatma, broadly minded, great personality, it is very difficult to find out. Because it is only when one understands that Krishna is the origin or original source of everything that he can become qualified. Janmadhyasya yataha. So this was the first sloka of the first chapter of the first canto, if you all remember, where it is indicated in the Vedanta Sutra that absolute truth is that from whom everything emanates. But God, nobody can understand. But for us, there is a solution. As far as possible, we can understand from Shastra, Sadhu, so these two, and the Guru. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. So three sources. We can understand and make our conclusion that Krishna is the supreme personality. And so the Pandavas, they were already knowing Krishna as the supreme personality. And so they're completely surrendered unto him. They're completely malleable, ready to do whatever Krishna ordered. They did not want to fight, but because Krishna wanted the war and wanted them to become the rulers of the earth, they accepted. And the great Mahabharata war was fought. Whatever Krishna desired, they were more than willing to do and implement as per his instructions. And that is why they are always praised. And why only them? Even Parikshit Maharaj, he was also completely surrendered to Krishna. He was also a great devotee, and that is why he was protected in the womb of his mother. And everywhere these stories were being sung. That this whole Ulaha dynasty has a great devotion to Keśava. And when Parikshit Maharaj used to hear this, he used to get satisfied. And then, out of magnanimity, because of his pleasure, he used to award valuable necklaces and clothing to all the storytellers, to all the singers. Because these stories proved the fact that Krishna comes for his devotees. He comes specifically to deliver his devotees. Pritranaya sadhuna. And the devotees are glorified by the presence of the Lord because they cannot live for a moment without the presence of Lord and his different energies. So Lord is present for the devotee by his acts and glories. And so Parikshit Maharaj felt the presence of Lord everywhere. In purport, Prabhupada says that the Bhagavad Gita was spoken only because the listener was Arjuna, who was a devotee. If they were not the devotees, then even Bhagavad Gita would not have been spoken anytime. But then that is how the addresses are there when someone comes. But in modern times, it's completely reverse. Instead of talking about facts and figures, the truth, we try to flatter the persons who have come. Because flattery pays in the modern times. But this is not what Parikshit Maharaj was expecting. Because he knew Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sab Mahatma Sudurlabha. So becoming this kind of a Mahatma is important. Otherwise, there is no difference between a human being and an animal. As it is mentioned in Hitopdesh, Ahara Nidra Bhayamaithunam Jasamanyam Etat Pashubhi Naranam. So if we are always going to be engaged in the same activities as animals, then why do we call ourselves as humans? The humans are not for the animal activities. They have got a different objective. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. They have to inquire about the absolute truth. Then they are above the cats and dogs. So this is the test. What is the subject matter? He is inquiring. So when one becomes inquisitive to know about the ultimate necessity, atyantika dukkha nivritti, the ultimate necessity, then it is Shreya Uttamam. We had discussed this previously, Shreya and Preya. Preya means immediately. So it is very palatable. Turant results mil gaya. And Shreya means ultimate good. So this inquiry is the ultimate good that is important. And Dani means is inquisitive to know the ultimate goal of life, how I am eternal, how I can get eternal life. So in this way, he tries for it. That is called Gyan. Krishna says that out of so many classes of yogi, one yogi who was always thinking of Krishna is the first class. 6.47 Bhagavad Gita. Yogi nam api sarvesham madgatena antara atmanaha. So when one actually comes to the knowledge point, he surrenders to Krishna. And then Vasudevam Sarvaiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. This is the Mahatma when you understand that Krishna is the Sarveshwara, is everything. Now, suppose someone understands that Krishna is everything, he surrenders. So, what is the work remaining then? Simply knowing and surrendering will do? No. महात्मना तु माम पार्थ दैवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रितः भजन्ते अनन्यम मनसः. He has to be engaged in devotional service continuously, bhajante, and then he can be spiritualized. So if we were to talk practically, what is the symptoms of being in spiritual energy? The answer is here, bhajante, always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And they are then Mahatmas. And when a devotee reaches such stage, there is exchange of love between Lord and the devotee. Krishna, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the master, he is supreme. But then we cannot understand the relationship between the master and the supreme by our material experience. Like in our material experience, we see the master is always master and the servant is always servant. But in the spiritual world, sometimes the master is the servant also. That is why it is called absolute world. Here there is a distinction between master and servant, but in the spiritual world, there is no such distinction. Sometimes the servant is rendering service to the Lord. Sometimes the Lord is the rendering service to the master. For example, when Krishna was a small child and he used to play with Mother Yashoda, she used to take a stick. Krishna, if you do become again naughty, I will hit you with the stick. And then Krishna used to cry, oh. So, such wonderful. In fact, if you remember in the first canto, we studied, in the previous chapters, we studied the Kunti Maharani's prayers, where she says that the whole world is afraid of Krishna, and Krishna is afraid of the stick of Mother Yashoda. This is the exchange of love between a devotee and the Lord. Krishna is supreme, mattah parantaram na anyat. Nobody is superior than me. But still he accepts inferior position out of love. Because Krishna served as the carrier driver of Krishna, of Arjuna, his another name is Parthasarthi. So we know Krishna has so many thousands and thousands of names. But actually, all these names are calculated in relationship with devotee. Devaki Nandan, because he appeared as the son of Devaki. Yashodanandan, because he was the son of Mother Yashoda. Radharamana, because Krishna enjoyed with the Radharani. Govindaha, because he gave pleasure even to the cows. So whatever you see, Krishna gives pleasure to every sense, so Govinda. So whatever so many names are there, they are all mostly in relationship to his association and interactions with his devotees. But the supreme name of Lord is Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. That is the beginning. He can attract everyone. So when practically one learns that this is the position of Krishna, then the life can be successful. Janma karma cha me divyam yojanati tatvata. See, the body is not a lovable object. But because the soul is there within the body, therefore we love the body. Just like an house, if it is vacant, nobody will come. But because there is Krishna, because there are devotees of Krishna, so many people come. Not that the house is lovable, it is the recipients who are there in the house. Similarly, the heart is there. It becomes lovable when Krishna appears there. And hence it is important that we indulge ourselves in the Chetodarpana Marjana. So we are doing the cleansing process which has covered our Krishna Bhakti. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kariya Udaya. The love for Krishna is there automatically. Everyone loves. But now it is covered by Maya. And hence Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte. So when name is perfectly chanted, then the form, the pastime, the quality, all other things in relation to Krishna become revealed. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Grahyam Indriyai. But these blunt senses cannot appreciate what is Krishna. So what will be appreciated? How it will be appreciated? Seven mukhe hi jivhadau swayameva spurtevadaha. That is important. That we allow the process to take place as mentioned by the Guru. Follow his instructions. And this is exactly what differentiated the Pāṇḍavas. They were malleable, completely malleable to the will of the Lord. And so they could do anything for the service of Lord. And because of this unalloyed determination, they could secure the Lord's mercy in any shape they desired. And that is what is mentioned in this particular shlokas. So this is a learning for us that we have to work as per the will of the Lord. Simply by appreciating the dealings of the Lord with the pure devotees, we can attain salvation. So if we actually start working as per the will of the Lord, just imagine the kind of love we'll get from Krishna. And that is what we have to strive doing by following the instructions of Guru and Parampara. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.